Last Sunday, I talked about these wonderful success stories, and many of you loved it, right? How many of you loved last time message? So many wonderful hands up, right? And I'm going to tell you that how it is so difficult to practice this in the world, and yet you can completely not practice it at home. You know? So the most important thing is sometimes when you want to know how good a Christian somebody is, ask your wife or ask your husband. It's a total different story out there. It's not lying. Right? How many of you know, can agree with this, that the one person who knows everything about me is my spouse? Raise your hand. Yes or no? Yes. We can play doctor, we can play preacher, we can do a lot of things, but our spouses know the truth about us, right? Why am I sharing this? See, how many of you like that story about me apologizing to a student of mine? You remember that story? I hurt him and I apologized. How many of you like that story? Raise your hands up. You know, it's not so difficult to do it once you're doing once in 2 years, 3 years. It's in your workplace. And people look at you and say, wow, you're such a wonderful man. Just recently I was going to a colleague of mine. I was telling, can you just apologize and make up? And a person, no, it's not done. I think what I did was right. But how is it going to be when this comes on a weekly basis at home? Maybe for some people it comes on a daily basis. Are you the same wonderful guy who could do this publicly and feel like a hero when people said, that was so cool, right? How many of you like the story when I told you about my son sitting in the footpath and eating the sandwich with those beggars? How many of you liked it? Everybody liked it. Because my son could look at the child's problem through the eyes of the child, of the beggar. He said, I know if I give you that, you'll still feel like a beggar. But if I look through your eyes, I realize how wonderful it would be if for one day I couldn't be like a beggar. So I'm talking to the men out here. How many of you truly look? How many of us, this talk is only for the men. Maybe someday I hope a woman can talk. I can't talk about this. A woman should talk how a woman should behave at home, So this is so much to make you understand this truth, that how many of us look at problems from the eyes of our wives? Or the men out here, how many of you actually, when a wife comes with a problem, you actually look at the problem through her eyes? You look at it through her eyes, Wilson? I'm going to ask Regina. She's not here. And everything is up. Yeah, I do it. I don't. And so today I'm going to talk about my failure in so many areas as a husband. Last night, if you thought I was a hero, I'm close to a villain when it comes to this. But I want to share, Paul talks about and says, in that chapter where he takes my grace is sufficient for me. Do you know what he starts off the chapter with? I will boast of my weaknesses. Why? So that Christ may be glorified. So this session is part 2 of that, and I will boast about my weaknesses that Christ can be glorified. What does it mean by that? I'm going to boast about my weaknesses that we can learn from this and understand not to make these same mistakes. Have you got it? And not make these same mistakes. I hope you understand what I'm saying today. I want you to understand. So, I want you to understand this beautiful verse in Psalms 128. Can you read it? The wife shall be like a fruitful vine. Not a fruitful tree. Have you got it? In the book of Galatians, it tells you are like the fruit of the Spirit. You always think of a tree, right? I know the Bible is very interesting, but I want to understand, do you think, how many men over here, I don't want you to raise your hands, is truly telling me that my wife is a fruitful vine? What do you mean by fruitful vine? It says a wife shall be a fruitful vine by the sides of thine house, meaning all around you. right? If that is true, there wouldn't be no jokes, right? That is a joke. Why are you home so early? My boss said go to hell. And all those guys say, it's so true, Life is so miserable after I got married. That's why I told, no? See, Richard is here when they talk. We'll not talk about during a marriage. The pastor was saying, marriage about the engagement ring, the wedding ring and suffering. I said, we're not talking about that. If your wife is a fruitful vine, will there be suffering? No, you should be happy, right? And the fruitful vine is grapes, right? And grapes is wine. Actually, we never hear of people eating grapes in the biblical times. They're mostly drinking it off, and getting high and happy, right? What he's saying, a wife is going to be so amazing that you'll always feel drunk with happiness. How many of you can say that? How many guys want to raise and say, yay, that's so true about my wife, huh? Ravindran, want to say that? Ravindran saying, yeah, absolutely. My wife is there. I have to say that, So the fact is, what I'm trying to say, so that's why I wrote the challenges in being a fruitful vine. And we're going to talk about the challenges of being a fruitful vine. Why is your wife called a fruitful vine and not a tree? Any men? Any guesses? Why is your wife called Monsi? You don't have to look at the Bible. You look at that thing and tell me, why do you think but what I'm saying, why is she called a boss? It's not there in the Bible. Hey, once you can't say that. We talked this so many times. Why is your wife called a fruitful vine? Hey, Koshi is there, huh? Where's he? Hey, Kosh, where's my buddy? Hey, right in the back, Hey, one thing, all the husbands, can you sit near your wives? Whoever has come today, come. I can see. Come, Koshi. This is important for this message. I don't know. Hey, Monsi, that means one of you step back or other one comes forward, If somebody else is there, okay, do that. And I just encourage you, as far as possible, can you sit with your spouses when you come to church? I don't know why you sit apart, but it's not a great idea, So, Koshi is okay. Okay, Koshi, you tell me. Why do you think God used this wonderful term? He says, your wife shall be like a Vijay is coming next to you, huh? Because Koshi has already given up almost. And he said, this is not going to happen, right? Vijay? Vijay is a YouTuber. So I'm asking him that maybe next YouTube you can put this message. Okay, why does he say fruitful vine? Why not fruitful tree? To what? Monsi? Any ideas, Wilson? It is the most profound thing you can ever imagine. The Bible is so amazing, right? My wife knows the answer. She'll tell you that. Okay, Vimla, you can tell. It needs... have you seen a grapevine on the ground? Does it bear fruit? It can never, ever bear fruit. It needs to be supported. Have you got that? And that's why this is a picture I put for you to understand that if you need to have a grapevine that is bearing a lot of fruit, it needs support. Have you got it? Who is the support for the grapevine in your house? The husband, right? If you're allowing her to crawl on the ground, if you're not there to support her, she will never bear fruit in her life, right? If my wife has not been doing that wonderful thing I want in life, it just shows I have failed her in every account. I want you to understand this truth. Richard, you're a young kid, getting married. You want to see an amazing wife? More amazing than anything on the earth? Learn to understand she will never, ever, 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 ever bear fruits. She may produce some stuff that is so bad, so rotten, half crushed by the time it's gone, that you'll say, this is not what I expected. I married a grapevine. And this is the best. This is the most amazing breed. I have seen the fruit. It is so sweet. It is seedless. It's got all the wonderful thing. But in my house, it is pathetic. That's because it's not supported. If you support a little bit and the fruit touch the ground, they are wasted. Are you with me this morning? That's why I told you, if yesterday, last Sunday, I spoke about the wonderful things, I want to make you understand that if you want to get married, and if you are married, understand you marry to ensure this fruit bears it fully, right? So basically what it says, a good husband makes a good wife. Got it? So yeah, I want to tell you that we should have another part when a woman talks about it. These are not absolutes. A bad wife can destroy everything. I agree. It doesn't mean the wife is free just to do anything. But I want you to understand that since you are called to be the Christ figure at home, you take this leadership in this area. But I want you to understand a good husband makes a good wife, right? A bad husband therefore produces a. Can you hear that? A bad husband makes a bad wife. I want you to remember this truth. Okay. So I want you to understand another thing. A lot of this, what you're going to hear now, for some time is medical. Because if we don't understand it, we have problems, right? And I want to talk about it. The most difficult time in a wife's life is when she hits 50, right? So some of you are not at 50, and you think your wives are not good husbands. Remember, it's only going to get worse. So you better get prepared for that. And if you get prepared for that, you will be much, much better off. And you don't start telling, oh my God, what have I got into? It's not that way. So I want to take you through this journey as to why this happens, right? And this is going to be the problems a wife faces as she comes closer and closer to 50. So you ask yourself this question, why? And some of these I'll talk also happens at a young age, but it is a big problem. It's a struggle exclusively for women. The first problem is they have a condition called menopause, right? I hope everybody knows. It's a time when a woman stops having her periods. It's one of the worst things that can happen in a woman's life, but God created it that way. Probably God made that happen, that God can give you an opportunity to fulfill the calling for which God has called us. And most of us fail. I have failed miserably, over and over and over and over again. The next thing that happens, it's the same time when there are elderly people at home. Your parents are getting old. You dump them on your wife. Her parents are getting old. You dump them on your wife. And you keep confessing and saying, you know, it's so wonderful. God has called us, honor your parents. Where are you running around the place? I don't know. Because all this honoring comes a lot more on your wife, not on the husbands. And the third thing that happens is the children leave home. For many people, this comes as an onslaught of loneliness because the very purpose for which they live is completely gone. And the last thing, that is the time when the husband is peaking in his career, right? All of them come at the same time, and it's a very, very, very difficult journey for a wife at that point of time, right? So let's start with menopause. What exactly happens? A man cannot understand it because man does not have a problem of this sort at all. Man is driven by one single hormone called testosterone. Very convenient. That's it. There's no problem. You feel good, you feel high, you want to play games, you watch sports, everything is good. That's so manly. And you love it and you get away with it. So when you're born as a girl, you're this way. You end up as a woman. And in between this, there is a huge cycle of changes in hormone. I want to look at that red color hormone. That is your happiness hormone, estrogen. Estrogen is a hormone that peaks up when you got your menarche, gradually starts dropping, dips really down when you go into menopause. Along with that, her world will crash. That's the same reason women will have this big ups and downs during their periods. There is a period comes, once she ovulates at day 14, there's a drop in her estrogen and suddenly her mood goes down. And you can't ask, yesterday you were looking so happy. Why are you looking so crazy today? Why are you so irritable? I want you to know they're helpless. Their body is a cocktail of hormones that keep going up and down at such rapid paces. Sometimes they cannot handle it. And you need to understand it's not because they're wrong. It's because their body is created that way, and ask God why it happened. So the good mood hormone is called serotonin. So we go to a psychiatrist today, he'll give you a tablet that promotes serotonin, But God actually gave it to us. We can suppress serotonin in many, many ways. And I'll tell you how serotonin gets suppressed. Now you understand, it is one of the greatest hormones for happiness. Depression is less seen in men than women because serotonin is controlled by this hormone estrogen. When the estrogen is high, there is more serotonin, you feel much happier, you feel much better. I'll tell you ways in which we can keep the serotonin up. And therefore, when menopause comes, serotonin drops. And it's very, very easy to feel down. So basically, these can be so dramatic, so sudden at times that you do not even know. 2 hours back, she looked good. And now she's so irritable. She's so moody. She's suddenly withdrawn. Suddenly she blames you for everything around. It's not that she wants to blame you, but at that point of time, that's how her brain starts functioning, and you go and say, pray. What she needs is something else. I want to see, so this is what happened, how the serotonin activity actually goes up and down along with that, and that leads to depression, anger, anxiety. See, you can put a line over here. Can you see that blue line? That blue line is called the critical line, and when it drops down the critical line, so you just see that point as she goes in a period, or in terms of her, see, in a period, can you see the dips he's showing? But you can see that, that dip is basically to tell you the dip that goes down when the estrogen level drops in case of a period. So you understand, she's got a real challenge. So during the perimenopause, they cause a group of problems which we call perimenopausal problems. Okay, just to make you understand. So one of the causes, they have more frequent headaches. So you may just start saying, oh my God, anytime you've got a headache. She can't help it. She cannot do anything about it. She's totally helpless. She doesn't want to have those headaches, but she has those headaches because that's how she feels. And then you have dizziness, Often you're like, I feel so dizzy, I feel so tired. You're getting irritated. Ever I look, you're tired. The problem, I do that often. I want to tell, can't even go for a trip with you. You're feeling tired. You're feeling exhausted. Look at me. These are the things I use. I am 65. There's a big age gap. Vimla and me, she'll say 9 years. It's actually 8 years and 1 month, The bottom line is, and I'll say, why are you like this? Look at me. I'm 64. That's because you do not have this problem of serotonin dropping. Luckily, I don't explain it to her because then she'll argue me very scientifically, She should tell you, that's the way your body is created. You're not created this way. You don't have these massive fluctuations that I'm going through. I do not know. I feel dizzy. I feel bloated. I feel crazy. And I'm feeling so helpless. And the last thing I want you is giving explanation compared to yours. More than 50% of the women will experience mood swings and irritability. You understand? And how do they present? Sudden bouts of sadness. Total inability to concentrate. Total lack of motivation. She may blame you for that. She will say, you didn't encourage me. The bottom line is, you got to understand it is genuine. She's broken. She doesn't get motivated. She doesn't have motivation to exercise. She doesn't have motivation to dress. She doesn't have motivation to go to work. And now you murder her by telling, this is crazy. You've become a burden in my life. You're so difficult for me. And it's irrational anger and increased fatigue. Remember, I'm not telling this. This is science. To make you understand, this is how your wife is created. And that's why I said I have failed her 100 times. And today I want to confess this with this hope that I will change. And I want every husband to understand this, that if you believe your wife should be a fruit-bearing tree, you have to support her, not when she's looking great and happy, in these moments when she's going. Mood swings are extreme and sudden, and often euphoria to total depression. It can happen just 2 hours before. Oh, wow, that was fantastic. It was so good. The next moment, she's looking and say, I feel so worthless. I feel you rejected me. I feel you were not there for me. And immediately the husband gets angry. What do you mean I was not there for you? And now from there, you kill her. I want to make you understand the journey, what God would expect us to do as Christian husbands, Okay. So we talked about it. You have mood swings, you got depression, you got anxiety, all of them coming together. She may just get anxious about the fact that tomorrow I've got to go out somewhere. What's wrong with you? I mean, I'm traveling all the time. What's so difficult? She can't. She's so helpless. It's not that she wants to be that way. The problem is she can't help it. And it's terrible and it's extremely difficult as we go into this journey, right? Sometimes there are intense hunger. And you'll say, what's wrong with you? I mean, why are you always wanting to eat? Can't help it. You can't help it. Because something is crazy that's happening in her body. She can't help it. She can't understand it. And the problem is, God gives you the greatest opportunity at that point of time to be there for your wife, and we fail. So this is basically what you see: extreme irritability, mood changes for no apparent reason, feel anxious without an explanation, panicking over trivial issues that should not be a concern, feeling less confident than normal, and inability to concentrate and a lack of energy. And this is a problem you'll also find in the workplace where there are many women. Male bosses cannot understand. I mean, what's wrong? I mean, this is your work. Just go ahead. Just do it. Why are you so irritable to all your colleagues? And sometimes it's very, very challenging. Sometimes I feel we should talk to our male colleagues and make them understand that, you should be a little more compassionate because we cannot understand and they are to work. We don't give them leave, Just say, okay, today the serotonin is low. Go off. It doesn't happen really, right? So these are, I thought you were in a good mood. And she said, that was half an hour ago. You understand? That's the truth. It's a truth because it can be so sudden. And every husband who's getting a wife towards 50 or even has got somebody who's got a problem called PMS probably sees it, and instead of being compassionate and understanding, we react. Not making it better. And I am guilty of all of them. Right? One day Koshi was telling me, when you talk on a stage, I think you're so wonderful. You're nearly in heaven. What about me? I just want to tell you, I am probably worse than you, I have no idea what Koshi does at home or Wilson does at home or any of you or you do at home. But the bottom line is I can be absolutely certain that each one of you sitting have failed more often than succeeded in this area, right? Look at this one. Don't ever do this. Don't ever give advice to her when she's going this phase with your wonderful views. Like you say, no, hey, chill it out. What problem? She's fat and you tell her chill it out, She feels fat. She feels more fat when she's got a period and she's really feeling terrible, and we can be so insensitive. Did I tell you about the crazy joke? The wife is feeling terrible. She said, look at me. I put on so much weight. Look at my arms. They are so fat. And everything is this thing. Isn't there in one good thing you can say? You know what the husband said? You got good eyesight. Not very helpful, right? Right? Sometimes we all want to tell the same thing. Yeah, you got good eyesight, Or for the matter, I'll say, am I looking fat? And then you'll say, you look just like the way you look, no? See, the problem is they got challenges which is way beyond their control. They don't know how to come out of this, right? Or look at this. If you feel like shouting, just close your eyes and count 10. Husband's advice. She wants to kill him, See, that's not what she wants to hear. And we are always full of that. You're feeling low. Why don't you pray a little? I tell my wife, go and pray. That way two things happen. She leaves me alone and she's with God. Now she can blame God, That's not the advice she wants. I keep telling her, Vimla, when you were younger, how you used to meditate and pray and used to say, God speaks to me. You're not telling that, go and spend so. God, she's gone to pray. 20 minutes of peace. That's not what she wants. Got to tell her, I know it's so difficult for you. I know these phases are difficult. As a man, I cannot understand. Just tell me what I can do. It is not possible sometimes. We got work, got commitment, but at least let there be sympathy, rather than this feeling that you are such a big nuisance, See, this is the thing, never tell I know how you feel. You will never know. You don't have those hormones. Be honest, If you say, I know how you feel, how do you know? You've never gone through that. I still remember my mother had a cardiac surgery and she was telling the cardiac surgeon, you know what, I'm having so much pain. She said, I know how you feel. My mother asked, did you ever have a bypass for yourself? You may be a surgeon, you've been operating everybody, but did you? And she said, Illa. He said, that's the truth, he said. Actually, he said, did you ever go through the surgery? When you say, I understand how you feel. You've been only operating and stitching people and walking off, right? So it's actually the truth. Never tell, I understand how you feel. You cannot understand. Because that's something maybe another woman can say, So the key things you understand are something. First of all, understand these are medical. Eat a balanced diet, rich in fruits, vegetable, protein, fiber, dairy. Exercise regularly. Decrease caffeine and alcohol. You don't drink, I know. Sleeping for 7 hours at night. Stop smoking. So this is one thing. If you're one of those people who got a TV in your bedroom, I don't know if any of you got it, and if you want to watch something at night, please don't do it because she needs to sleep. She needs that 7 hours. If your wife is a late sleeper, sometime for some reason during this phase, she's left at 2 in the morning, go wake up, make your tea, make your breakfast, leave. Let her get that sleep. Don't say, I am this husband. I won't wake up till I get my coffee. Are you understanding that? You know what she needs is help. Try to get things that help her. Exercising. Call her up. In 35, how many years have you married? 34 years of marriage. I started doing this for last 2 days because I'm speaking in the message today, And the wife was saying, you changed so much, Anand. You've been calling me and asking every day for exercise. And today she even told me, I didn't want to, I can't let, she told me, I'm not going to come and listen to you if you give another message, You keep on praising yourself all the time. And I was scared to tell her, she's telling me, I'm so happy to see your change in the last 4 or 5 days. You're showing so much more love and concern. I couldn't tell her, I'm speaking this day and I'm trying to evolve before I speak, Okay, you know the truth now. Okay, the fact is after 34 years, I started calling up, did you walk, Vimla? Did you walk? Did you go on the treadmill 2 days so far, no? I'm going to keep it up, right? I'm trying to make you understand. You motivate them. You become that little branch for them to stand. They will flourish, right? And when they're flourishing, despite your pathetic support, imagine what a great job they're doing, Seriously, I'm going to tell you. Okay, and of course, caffeine, alcohol, sleeping at... So, the thing is that when she has not slept, don't wake her up at 5 in the morning. I wake up at 5, And I have realized, it's so important that when you wake up and it's time for your tea or whatever, if she's still sleeping, please allow her to sleep. Don't wake her up and give her tea also. Sometimes she needs that sleep. And you don't understand she needs it because that builds a serotonin that keeps you peace. For your goodness at least, for your happiness, make sure she sleeps. At least do it selfishly, if not out of consideration, Can you get it? Okay. And of course, we are not smoking, we don't talk about this, right? So serotonin increase with morning sunlight. Why is it becoming less and less? Because people do not really, this was less in the past. People were people who worked outside. They used to get a lot more of sunlight. Another thing was a lot more of exercise because we were created to walk. Then we bought cycles, then we bought scooters, then we got cars. Now we don't walk at all. So we don't walk. The only time we walk is when we exercise. All these are necessary. If it's possible, husband and wife walk together if you can. It's a great idea. It helps build your serotonin, right? And for the matter, sunlight, meditation, prayer, it does help. Praying together does help. Spending time in meditation does help. And that's why people like yoga, they'll say, it helps. It's true. It's because when we do this and they meditate, their serotonin goes up and they actually feel good. So how can a husband help? Today I'm going to, all the wives are writing it down. I don't see husbands. They'll tell their wives, this is what I was told, practice this. The first thing is, talk more to your wife. Now this is a challenge. There's this beautiful book called The 5 Languages of Love. How many of you read that book? 5 Languages of Love? Of course you're not read it. Better read it. Huh? 5 Languages of Love, have you read it? So one day we can do a message on that, The first thing, language of love, a woman wants is quality time. Talk to me, Every wife will say, talk to me. And every husband will say, don't talk to me, Husbands are very happy not to talk. You can look at the mobile phone and rubbish for 1 hour, YouTube, laughing at yourself. Talk to me. Oh my God. How do I even do that for more than 5 minutes? My wife will say, 5 minutes. Can you focus on me? She already started thinking of the hospital. You all, and it's so true. And God's given women this crazy capability. They can pick it up so fast. Oh, how did you even know it? It just, I zoomed out so fast. But I want you to know it helps them. It makes a big difference. It's a big serotonin elevator for them. Believe in her. Don't imagine chumma crippling all the time. Everything is an issue for you. Oh, you're always, you're tired? Believe she's tired. And say, what can I do? Say, anything I can do to make you feel better? I'm feeling down. Believe in her. The problem in men is, why are you feeling tired? Nice house, nice thing. You imagine you're a nice husband also. No? Most husbands feel they're awesome guys. So you got such a good husband, compare with that guy. That's not what she wants to listen. Seriously, what she wants is, I believe that the husband says you're so difficult, tell her, I believe that's true. I actually believe it, I mean, I'm in a work in progress, it will change, but I believe it. I'm not going to say they're better husbands than most of the others elsewhere, okay? The other one is be patient. Very difficult. That's why, God makes you practice the Bible at home. Book of Corinthians talks about love, patience. It's part of it. And you got to do that, right? Don't personalize the mood. Do you know what's personalizing a mood? You want to tell me? What do you mean by personalizing the mood? Okay? You always feel negative. Anybody else? Rajendran, what do you mean personalizing the mood? Okay, some of the women sitting here, you may have felt, I feel like you. I went through that myself. Anything worse than that, personalizing? What does you Preeti, what is the worst comment you hear when you're feeling depressed? Which hurts you the most? You always are like that? Okay. All women are like that? No. Worse than that is your mother was like that. You know the fact? That's personalization. Your mother is just like this, your sister is just like that, you are just like this, and God has put this in your hand. When I had an argument, I told my wife one day, you're a thorn in my flesh. I could be so mean. I'm not joking. I actually told her that. You are a thorn in my flesh, and God has to give me grace. Why am I telling you this? So that I will not repeat it again. I told you, I will boast of our infirmities. I have told the most nastiest things to my wife. When I'm upset and I'm frustrated and I'm irritated. Of course, I wish women also understand that a point of time that he is getting, but the bottom line is, it does not justify your answers. You can't say that your father was like that, your mother, I can see, you're just a copy of your father, That's not what she wants to hear. All women are like that, they don't bother, really. When you go more this thing and tell her you're just like your mom, or you pick up her worst aunt, which even she dislikes. You're just like that aunt, no? You understand? That's personalization. When you want to hit really hard, you want to hit where it hurts, you pick up the most horrible woman you know, and you're just like that, And I want you to think about it and understand, don't personalize the mood. Offer to help. Don't give this big dialogue. Take a deep breath, wait, go to your room, meditate and pray. Ask, can you tell me something I can do that can make a difference for you? I know it's a bit scary, she may ask you something big, but try it out, Many often, even the fact that you're just willing to be kind is enough for them, See, I want to tell you, it's not an easy journey. I was laughing some time back. Somebody told, somebody was getting married in a church somewhere in one of the Nordic countries. And they said at the end of the church, they give the husband a cross also, It sounds crazy, but he was trying to make you understand you have to learn to carry a cross daily. And sometimes your wife's difficult times truly can be like a cross which you have to carry. You can bum it up and ask your pastor will take care of it. It doesn't happen that way. It's very convenient. Find a pastor, find a psychiatrist, find a counselor. You can't. You have to do it. This is your calling. God has called you to love your wife like Christ loved the church. And Christ doesn't dump you when you're feeling down and you're feeling low, okay? Help her to get sleep, please. Don't dump your problems. Don't have your dinner at 1 o'clock in the night and 10 and 11 and 12. Please make sure that doesn't happen. Approve her. Very difficult for Indian husbands. My wife says Malayali husband, but I think all Indian husbands. Approval is the biggest challenge. Today morning, I praised her. And she asked me, you recognize me? I was preaching today. I said, you're looking so good. All green, all matching. And she said, what a pleasant change. Right? And I looked at everything, top to bottom. Wow, things are so matching. You're looking so good. She needs, a wife she dresses for you, not for the world. Every woman likes to be told, you're looking beautiful, you're looking good. An Indian husband refuses to do that. It is like such a big challenge in their life. You can't believe it. You will always have excuse. Oh my God, I was just going to say, it was just in my mouth, 100 excuses, but I can't say it, When be careful when you're going to maid at home, find out who's cooking before you praise. But if your wife has cooked, do praise her. You can make a mistake and pick up the dish the wife cooked and say, this is not good, but the other one is good. And then she'd say, okay. You know how wives are? They won't tell you anything then. But my wife will say, you never praise me. I say, I just put it in my mouth. I needed at least another one more minute to really taste it. But the bottom line, it is so challenging. I don't know about white men. Unfortunately, David and his wife is not there. But I'm not sure. But Indian husbands. My wife says, the worst in the Malayalis, the most south, I'm not sure. I had to ask Wilson whether your wife feels, hey, Selvina, where are you? Does your dad praise his mom or your mom does it little better as we go a little higher? But you're also Malayali, I don't know. Ravindran, do you praise your wife often? Yeah, everything. I had to ask his wife. He's shaking his head for everything. Wife is not there, I have no clue at all, Ask the wife. He's saying yes and all that. No idea, Okay? So I just want to make you understand how can you help her during this phase. Right? You tell us a joke, but it's serious stuff. I gave you medical evidence to say this is how it happens. Support her interest. Don't belittle it. If she thinks she wants to gardening, help her in that, Don't keep on wasting money, I've done that. Once she got a gardener, put a garden. 1 month later, whole garden disappeared. That's not her fault, right? Second time, same thing happened. Why are you wasting so money? Why don't you just, you waste money for 100 things, men especially, All kind of funny things we do in life, buy all kind of shoes and belts which you never wear. Once true? Okay. Then after that, and then what is there? Some plants died. Why are you getting so excited about that, What's the big deal? Let's try something else, Maybe you'll put a rock garden and cactus, we can never try. But at least give a suggestion that is more positive than going and say, what a waste, And I had this standard joke. No, I have this standard joke which are very mean. I keep telling the quality of food that comes from the kitchen is inversely proportional to the amount of money you invest in the kitchen. That means more money you spend versus the food, There are so many funny gadgets, The firewood kitchen, great food. Why have you been telling such stupid things? I don't know, We think you're very smart. But having said that, I must tell all the men, there was one argument which my wife could never, ever, ever beat me on, right? We were building the house and everything we bought as a problem. She wants to paint the walls pink, I will want it in yellow. She'll want some kind of thing in it. Finally, I told her, listen, please let me make a decision because my choice is better than yours. I married you and you married me, That was a difficult one. If she says wrong, that means she's bad, So, once in a way she'll say, yeah, maybe when you say that argument is a bit of a challenge, but having said, we used to fight so much about many things, right? Having said that, I want to make you understand, therefore, these are important because this gives a lot of value. Don't make her feel guilty. Okay, wives, sitting over here, I'm going to ask you this question from a silent husband. What is the statement that a husband says that will make you feel guilty? He doesn't talk. This is the biggest advantage of Koshi. There's no problem. Okay, Vimla, you tell me, what are the statements that I make that make you feel guilty? I know that. Any wives sitting here? What is that one statement that a husband often makes, actually? All husbands make it. That actually makes you feel guilty. Makes you feel kind of worthless, I wish I had never got married to you. Or more than that, you make her feel you're not good enough for me. The other wives out there who would have been so excited having this, amazing guy, like, right, by telling it some ways, you're not there. There's so many wives who'd wake up at 6 o'clock and make me breakfast. One day idli, one day dosa, one day appam, one day. Where are you? Every day the same idli is coming up, and yesterday sambar gets heated up. Man, I can't tolerate it. It could be anything. Giving an example, right? It's not that a wife makes idli or sambar for me. But the bottom line is, you can always make her feel, I deserve so much better. Why did I get stuck with you? You can tell it over till she actually feels guilty. Why should I marry this guy, hotshot doctor? When I married her, I was a junior doctor. My salary was so low, we couldn't even make both ends meet. Bottom line is, the fact is that you can tell anything you want, right? You can tell anything to make her feel guilty on a daily basis. You could say anything on the dress. But having said that, I wanted to, the other half should also be told, which I'm not linking. Just because of that, you just can't do anything, women. For the matter, do you know, when you come home in the evening, a husband likes to see a wife who looks nicely dressed. Most wives are worse dressed for their husbands. One terrible nightie with sambar smell on it. It's not the most attractive woman in the world. Just want to make you... That's why I said this doesn't close with this. I think the other side should be told, right? But having said that, but it's important to do my part. I don't make her feel guilty. I don't make her feel guilty. If you want to tell something, maybe there are better ways to tell it, okay? Don't be ashamed to take professional. This is another thing. Many Christians are terrified of taking professional help. Sometimes there's a problem. You actually need professional help. Nothing wrong in it. It's just like cold, just like cough, just like diabetes. If some hormones are really low, you'll feel bad. And even as we pray, we ask for healing. Most of the times I find God heals. Most of the time, when the husband is changing, the woman is healed. Most of the time, a lot of anger comes down when they sit together and talk it over. But having said that, don't ever be ashamed of it. Don't feel Christ has let you down, okay? So that's the first part we talked. The menopause, the cycle of menopause. I know I'm getting late, but I'm going to finish this talk today, whether you like it or not. So just sit a little bit more of long suffering this morning. And the next one is elderly at home. Elderly at home can be the most challenging thing for women, right? Taking care of the old is a great blessing, I know. But remember, old men are crazy. They can be very, very difficult. They can do the funniest things in the world. Old women can be very demanding. They can keep, my mother, as she got older, would not let my wife leave her side. And I'm telling the truth. My wife is to go crazy because she will not let her move. And I used to go crazy trying to tell her, this is long suffering, this is God's calling for you, and all the things that are so convenient, by not telling her, look, this is so difficult for you. I wish there's something I can do. You understand? I want you to understand, I have been mean. I have not been understanding enough. Don't compare your wife with your maid servant who managed to handle it. Maybe she can. People are created differently, and they can be so demanding you can't understand. My mother will come and say, I don't know how their tongues are so sensitive. I don't want it. She could go drive everybody crazy, and I'm telling you, she could have handled her much better if every time I saw her problem through her eyes. My son saw the problem of those kids through their eyes and sat on the footpath. I never sat on the footpath with my wife when she was struggling with my mom. Instead of that, I made it a reason to make her feel guilty and say, you are not created for this. You are not tough enough, and 100 things. They become like children. They forget things all the time. When her mother developed dementia, she couldn't remember she had a bath in the morning. There are days she'll have a bath 6 times. She could do all kind of crazy things. You need enormous patience to handle this, and enormous support. Not from the maid, but from the husband. To make her tell, this is a difficult job. To tell her, what can I do to make up for this? How can I overcome this, right? They are so dependent on you, can't imagine. They're falling over here, they're tumbling over there, what they're doing, what are they eating, you cannot imagine. And I keep telling my wife, we have an argument, I always tell my wife, I don't want to live long. I've seen this. The point comes and everybody's saying, why aren't they dying? But the bottom line is, I want you to understand, it is one of the most difficult journeys. And along with that, remember, she's got menopause. Don't forget that. The journey is already tough because your hormones are killing you. Now you got two old parents where you glorify and say, these are my parents. You have to honor them. They sacrificed their life for me. So in that process, I am making you a sacrifice. Hey, it doesn't work that way. But that's the problem with us. It's my mother. It's my father. It's fine. I understand that. But don't make your wife a sacrifice, because we do it, and I did it so many times. And today, I actually publicly, I'm telling you that I did treated her so badly. And publicly, I want to tell you that I am confessing things before you all, that God may forgive me and allow me to be a better person, right? They are incontinent. Praise God for diapers. Seriously, the greatest gift God gave humankind is diapers. Without that, it was even much worse, right? Right. Rennie saying amen. It is true. Without diapers, my mom used to do all kind of things on the diapers. When she developed dementia, she'll take a soiled diaper and keep it under the pillow. You know why? Because one day I told Amma, you don't understand. Once it was like, put a diaper, 5 minutes, take it, throw it off, soiled. Nothing has happened. Then I told her, diapers are expensive, Amma, shouldn't throw. My mom has told me, diapers are expensive, I can't throw it. Now it went under the pillow. It can be so difficult. You cannot imagine. And you go for work. Because I had a good excuse. I got sick patients, I got appointments, I got this. Don't stress me up. I want to say that, my wife is allowing me to go to work, provide her the decency to at least ask her, if not 2 times in the workplace, at least in the comment, how was your day? Is it difficult? Is there something more? Rather than saying that, I have seen Rennie. Rennie seemed to be, Rennie is, a very interesting, I don't know how Monsi has managed it, but Rennie has convinced is that she's the one who should give all the bathing, cleaning, all that whenever the maid is not there. So we find it very convenient. My wife used to do a lot for my mom when the maids are not there. She will be violent. And, when they get dementia, even a small build lady can have a lot of strength. And all these are challenging times, And we have to understand this is not an easy job. Just because somebody tells you, I can do it, it doesn't mean she's enjoying it. Nobody enjoys this work unless there is some problem psychology with that person. It is difficult to take care of her. I know you over here, she is the person who used to look after old people for a long time. It is not easy. She may not complain. That doesn't mean this journey was easy. And I want to make all the people understand that this is a difficulty that will go. They can be embarrassing. They'll just walk up with anything in the way. Your friends have come and you can't get upset and tell your wife, why didn't you look after? It can be 100 things. I can go on and on about this. And it can be a killing and a thankless job. The children are not bothered. They don't even understand. But I want you to understand that the journey your wife goes through can be very, very challenging, because this is not the only problem she's got. It's the second of the problem. There are 2 more coming behind it, right? They go into depression. They need their husband's support. Appreciate your wife. Understand a problem through her eyes. Believe me, our parents can be very, very difficult people. We may say they're amazing people, noble people, wonderful people, but for your wife, it's a big, big headache. Speak to your parents when it's getting difficult for your wife. Talk to them. Don't do it in front of your wife, it gets worse. Sit alone with them and say, this is not happening. You're killing her. It's not fair. If there's an argument, let there be an argument. Have the courage to talk to your parents. I used to be terrified of talking. Sometimes I do it alone. May not work, but the bottom line is you have to tell. You have to tell. And I'm not telling throw them out. Make them understand. If a point comes, it's impossible, and your wife is going through an emotional breakdown, you have to plan it. Employ caregivers whenever you can. Don't make your maid. You can't afford it, I can understand. I'm not talking about such situations. But as far as possible, employ caregivers. If you can't afford at least for 1 day a week or 2 days a week, employ them, that she has a break that day. Or if you can't do that, then give that break by you staying back and making her a free time. Ensure that a wife gets sleep and a vacation. No? Sleep. Make sure she gets sleep. Make sure she gets a break, Okay, are you with me? Are you understanding? Men over here, the heroes, whose work is the most important thing in life, whose fathers and mothers are the most important thing in the world, please understand it's not an easy journey for your wife, okay? The third thing is the emptiness syndrome. Again, men don't miss too much because they somehow have work. They seem to get so obsessed with work. What is the problem? Feelings of depression, sadness, and grief that comes by parents and caregivers after the children come of age and leave their homes. Every parent will go through it, but the mother goes through it much more deeper. Why is it? Because they have a much better bond with their children. They spend a lot more time talking to them. They listen a lot more time to the problems. They're willing to, in today, my wife knows exactly what subject, which day my son has got an exam. I don't know which semester my son is in. She knows exactly. She knows what's happening. Whether they like it or not, it's a different story, which will be knowing everything about their life. But for them, it is an integral part of their living. What have you eaten? What have you done? What are you wearing? Have you shaved? Have you not shaved? The whole life revolves around that. And then the problem in this is, when they leave, it's very, very challenging. You pick this baby up. You carried the child. You watch the child walk, talk. There are 100 little memories you have of these children. The beautiful times of togetherness you had, and suddenly it's time to go. And it's not an easy journey for mothers. It's tough on dad, but it's a lot more difficult and worse when they get married. Men, especially when they get married, they completely forget because their wives become very important in their life. Loneliness is so big you can't imagine. And again, men sometimes do not understand because they can somehow, they're created different. Their work can replace many, many things. They actually add more work at that time. Why do they add more work? Because that keeps them more occupied. And the more occupied they are, now they push all this aside. And your wife is dying with loneliness. They feel unwanted. Because the husband doesn't feel, very often my wife will ask me, do you even want me at all? Do you need me? You got your life so organized. You wake up at 5 o'clock, you go for a walk, you have your Bible study time, you wake up, you can make your tea, you can make your breakfast, you can leave me and you can go. And sometimes, it's so horrible because she doesn't even feel she's wanted by anyone. And the reason, her kids also don't want her, it's purposeless, it's lonely, and you feel unloved. You understand? So, remember one very, very important thing for all the women over here. Before your children leave, start planning this. This is going to happen. If you think your hobby is gardening, ask Ravindran. Tell Ravi, I want to start a garden. He will help you. He's fantastic. Even if it's a small little window side pot, you got somebody in the church to help you with that. Tell him. If you feel that you want another passion like piano, ask Rohan. I'm not joking. You got people in the church. Rohan, my children are leaving. I want to start. My wife started it. She dropped it. We're going to start again. But the bottom line is you can do so many things, but start thinking. Start cooking. Then say, no, I can't eat. Don't. Come and give it in your Bible study. Make it for lunch. What about saying that, hey, let me make some dessert for lunch and bring, There's purpose. People start getting excited about your food. You can do so many things. I want you to understand. Understand this, all women. This is going to happen. Start getting prepared for it. Start doing things that you love to do long before. Maybe it's painting. Do it. We can have an auction. Make money. Give it to the church. You want to build this? Terrariums? Ravi, you can help in this also. He can help in this. Has anybody known this? Beautiful hobby. It's an amazing gift. Then you'll say, what will I do with 10 terrariums? Let's auction it. We'll make some money. We'll do it somewhere. And do what keeps you happy, keeps you occupied, gives you a purpose in your life. If you want to write, start writing some things. Want to take a Bible study, start doing it. Want to start anything, but prepare yourself for this, right? If you're the type who like pets, my wife doesn't like. The only pets allowed in the house are the fish because they don't jump out of the tank. Or the other animal she likes is humans, Having said that, I don't know what it is, but and one of the greatest things you can do is investing in other people. Investing in other people is, 5 people over here, you think you got time, why don't you say, let's start a little tuition center. We just started, and we start doing it in this, wherever this area is, we take a little, I'm telling you, we will sponsor it if you find a place to rent. If you're willing to run a tuition center, let's give purpose to something. Let's bring new children into our life. And let's start driving them forward by saying, let's do it. And the husbands will encourage it. It's their duty to say, it's fine. I know it's a time when I come back home. But if this is giving you greater purpose in my life, I will invest in it. I'm not joking. I'll tell you, I will invest with some other friend if you start a tuition center for slum kids. Now let's do it, because all the parents used to do so much for their kids, just trying to make you understand, invest in other people, make their lives happier, I'm just telling you so many ways where you can invest in other people and make your life. Make a support group. Go out together. I'm not saying go and eat like this, but I'm trying to make you understand. There are 5, 6 people, your kids are left, you're in the menopausal age. Say, let's do once a week, let's just do something. And whatever it is, sitting in a small place, whatever it is, make a support group. Try to travel together. Go to a small village close by. Drive down. Whatever it is, think of doing things beyond just clinging onto your husbands also, Because it's so much more fun when you make a support group, when you work together and do things together. Even, going for exercises. If you've got a home gym, invite your friends over and say, let's do it together. Why spend money wasting a gym? We can just share whatever we have and try to make things. I don't know where. I don't know. Wilson's house has got enough place for a gym, And if you think that, let's make a home gym there, some place. And all the women, we can get together. Whatever. I'm just giving you ideas, Even if it's going to a spa or whatever it is. You want to redo your interiors? I'm not saying everybody has to do it. I'm giving you things that people do to keep their minds open and not feel purposeless in life. The feeling of purposelessness comes because you're down. And we want to tell as husbands, we will encourage you. As a church, we'll encourage you to make things happen in life. And of course, plan a great vacation. Don't have an argument and a fight. That's a big problem. Okay? So how can a husband help? Make time for your wife. Support and encourage her with her new ventures. She got thoughts and things, maybe it will fail. It doesn't matter, Maybe it will fail. Whatever. We got business people here. And we can say, let's think of a business idea. Like you said, okay, now we got Ravi here. He'll help you to make terrarium. Let's make a business. Let's run a terrarium shop. Whatever it is, I'm just telling you ideas. We got purpose in life. It's not about the profit. It's purpose in life, okay? Do not belittle her. Do not make her wasting money again. Doing some rubbish again. What did you make? Or ugly terrarium. So don't make it ugly or good. The buyer will decide. You don't have to worry about that. Do not make her feel guilty or ashamed of these moves and difficulties and the clinging nature that she has got. Do not be ashamed to take professional help if she wants it. And the last one we're going to talk, why women is a busy husband. So we talked about all 4, right? We start by some menopause. We talked about, what the second one? Elderly people at home. What the third one? Children leaving home. And the last one is a busy husband. Unfortunately, this is the time also when a husband's career is peaking. You're by the time hitting on the top of your job. Maybe as a physician or doctor, your responsibility increased a lot more. Maybe as Wilson as a business, actually right now, the kids are not big enough to handle the business. At the same time, not enough to just let go and get everybody crashing. So here the busy husband, he has no time. He's getting to the top of his workplace. He's on top of his career. He's got business meeting, he's got travel. Now he takes his wife for granted. You just feel that she's there. I provide her with money, and that's enough. I don't understand loneliness. I don't understand my elderly people. I don't understand anything. And your attitude is, my wife is my obstacle for my growth. Very big problem. And you actually start telling. And you have to change this. And you think, therefore, my job is to work without it. And she, on the other hand, is suffering with these hurts and pains which you give on a daily basis. Because your career is important, so everything revolves around your career. My job, my placement, how does things work for me? And it keeps on. But the problem of men is this, therefore. This is what I told you, All our jokes are anti-women. Have you noticed it? All the WhatsApp jokes. There is anything that says good. I know. Women get anti-men jokes. Do you all get it? I don't know how much you get. But definitely, men's jokes are full of this. This is what I told you. Or, for example, excuse me, sir, do you have a book called Husband, Master of Wife? Sir, comic section is first here. You're told over and over and over again, a marriage is such a pain in life, right? Or for the matter, it says, why are you so early at home? My boss will only go to hell. Or for the matter, see the problem, this is called subtle indoctrination. You listen, and you're convinced that marriage is a bad place. Though it's satanic, believe me. The more you listen to the negative jokes, the more you start believing this lie, everybody is suffering in marriage. That's why even pastor's message about suffering. Probably he's having a bad time, I'm not sure. But the bottom line, you understand, this is dangerous. So what is the problem of subtle indoctrination? The time comes, all wives are difficult. They're out to make our lives miserable. I deserve a better life. I am not responsible for her emotional happiness. I give her enough money and a good life. What else does she want? And goodness should start at home, therefore. Ask yourself, what am I doing at home? I can preach, I can teach, I can do the hallelujahs, I can come and talk over here, like we can talk to everybody, go around meeting people. How much time do I spend with my wife? She needs to be lifted up, right? So understanding the reality, menopause is a real problem. Looking after the elderly is exhausting. The loneliness of children leaving can be devastating. Your obsession with work is not helping. Your negative indoctrination is killing your marriage. If required, take professional help. Look at the word of God. Your wife is a fruitful vine. And that's the truth. You're meant to be like this. Amazing people. Blessing people around them. Will you stand by her? Will you encourage her? Will you build her? Will you find time for her? Will you listen to her? Will you realize she's God's best gift for you? Move away from silly bloke and block those stupid pictures that talk about these things, right? Galatians chapter 6 and 2. My wife was sharing about this week, not understanding, I'd already put it here, that in marriage is the first place where you're called to carry each other's burdens. Each other's. Husband, wife is the husband's. 1 Peter 3:7 says, husbands likewise dwell with them with understanding. Give honor to the wife as to a weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers may not be hindered, right? If you feel this, God's not answering your prayers, ask your question, how am I treating my wife? Right? I want you to just think about this, right? Nevertheless, let each one of you in particular so love his own wife as himself, and let the wife see she respects her husband. See, the fact is it's bilateral. And make sure this happens in your life. And I'm just going to end this. And I just want every husband to just read this. Can you say, I promise to love you without condition, to honor you each and every day, to laugh with you when you're happy, to support you when you're sad, to guide you when you ask for direction, to challenge you to be a better person, to allow you to be the same for me, and to be your biggest fan and your ever-present listening audience. Are you your wife's biggest fan? Are you your wife's greatest listening audience? Or do you think your wife is a curse and a thorn in the flesh like I have done? And I'm going to ask, sorry, wife, from a church, I can pretend to be a great preacher, but I've failed so many times when in marriage. I've never stood by the covenant that I took in the church when I take you to be my wife. I just want you to close your eyes. And all husbands, I just want you to, for a moment, just hold your wife's hand. Or if not, when you go back today, will you tell your wife that I have been so bad to you? I lived a life of a hypocrite. I preached peace, joy, happiness, and love, but I hurt you more than anybody else. And today, will you give this area of your life to Jesus Christ? Say, God, I'm sorry. I've failed my wife so as a husband. And I want to be changed. I want to be her greatest fan. I want to be her greatest audience. I want to be her greatest listener. I want to understand her problems through her eyes. And so help me, God. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. So I hope you are blessed, and just want to keep this in mind. I just thought last time I talked about wonderful things, how I had actually managed to change But today I want to talk. There's a big area in my life which I really need grace to be my wife's greatest fan, to be her greatest